Bancroft Hall, attention to announcement. Reverend Trevor, all hands leave out with Christ up. Now Reverend, man hatches from overhead.
Worst part of the day is usually waking up because I'm incredibly tired. Or another worst part of the day is when I'm up at 2 or 3 in the morning working on homework, because that also sucks, which happens a lot more than I'd like to admit, but that's just the nature of being a Mickey and trying to do everything. I'm from Hockessin, Delaware. It's a pretty small town just outside of Wilmington, Delaware, which is like the only really big city they have there. I'm a mechanical engineering major here at the Naval Academy, and I guess like biggest time commitment I have currently is track and field, which is a big part of my life right now. Currently my hardest class is also the class that I'm doing the best in, just because I put in the most work into it, but it's heat transfer. A lot of what goes into heat transfer, like the 3 main topics are conduction, convection, and radiation. So the lab this morning was in material sciences, and what we were doing is measuring the electropotential of different materials. So the application for this, the reason this is important is because on boats, Navy ships, cars even, anything that is an environment where corrosion is likely, there are sacrificial anodes that can be put on either the vehicle or any object so that that sacrificial anode will corrode instead of the whole structure. The best part of my day is usually when I go to practice. Pole vaulting is always a lot of fun, just hanging out with the guys on the team. Like, I've gotten to know them so well that we know we can vibe off each other. If one of them's feeling down, I can bring them up. If I'm feeling down, they can bring me up. And if the school day didn't go so hot, then it doesn't really matter because you're at practice now and the goals are completely different. And it's just a nice change of pace, nice reset to the day when you show up to practice. And just being with the guys, it's a lot of fun. With track and field, there's always just the drive to win, and I've always felt that since I was little. Like, I've always been really competitive, and track and field has been like an outlet for that for me, so I've enjoyed that a lot. But with pole vault specifically, it's also just an adrenaline rush because you don't feel it every time once you get really used to it, but when you catch jumps right, it really feels like you're in a free fall, just like falling, but falling upwards. And catching all the energy of the pole into your ball, it's a feeling quite unlike anything else. The capstone project we're working on is deorbiting space debris. So currently the problem in space is that there's a bunch of debris floating around because of defunct satellites and just failed missions or missions that succeeded but left debris up in space. And the problem with having a bunch of debris up in space is there's something called the Kessler syndrome. As debris collides with other debris, it makes more debris, and it's essentially exponential growth of debris in orbit. And the problem with this is it'll quickly render space unusable within a span of a couple hundred years if we just let this to continue cycling. But which we will have to do eventually, if we develop devices that can go up and remove debris, there's a bunch of different ways people have come up to do this. If we develop something that can pull the debris out of space, then we'll be able to use space more, and it'll get cleaned up, which is important.
So what are you doing?
So the design that we're considering right now, or the project, the way we're going to be tested is we're going to build a prototype and take it down to Air Force Research. We're going to take it down to an Air Force Research Laboratory, and then essentially we're going to have our simulated satellite, and it's going to be shooting at debris to attach and then deploy a drag device that would bring down the debris much more quickly. So because there's some small amount of air up in space, if you increase the surface area of the debris significantly, then you can bring that debris out of space a lot quicker.